We sent it out over the weekend that we would announce today and clarify all this thing about the gubernatorial race in 2018. Who does it involve? Around the Rick and Bubba show, we told you last hour it isn't Bubba, it isn't me, but it is somebody out of the Rick and Bubba family, and we'd like to introduce you to now gubernatorial candidate Scott Dawson.
Scott.
Good morning, guys.
Scott, have you lost your mind?
Oh my,
Rick, I think we need to start this by
Scott. What in the world are you doing?
we like to chant.
Can I tell you, there was a moment that I thought about not showing up and just texting you going, this has all been an elaborate scheme to pay you back for the four-wheeler incident down at the farm.
That would have been a good one.
That would have been the greatest comeback in the history ever because undoubtedly over the weekend everybody thought one of us was going to run, even though that's not what I said.
I got a lot of text.
In the tweet, I was simply saying we're going to clear it up today, and we are. It is somebody that has Rick and Bubba history, Scott Dawson. We've done so many things together. So do you want to make your official announcement that you're running for governor?
Well, I mean, I will tell you guys I am running for governor of the state of Alabama.
There it is.
There it is.
Long, hard journey.
Oh, my.
To finally decide, and we've been walking with you through that. There's been much prayer. There's been all sorts of conversations. And to be fair, Bubba made the point going to the break. One of the things we may like the most about you in this is that you didn't want to do it. As a matter of fact, you tried to get so many others to do it, including one right over here. And like, what did you say last night? If Bubba just said yes, I wouldn't be in the spot.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I wanted to ask, is this my fault?
I blame about 70 people right now, and you're one of the top on the list.
What
man.
number was I in that list?
Oh my gosh! I mean, it was one of those situations where I was trying to find someone. And everyone kept coming back going, your heart's the one that's broken. You're the one who's got the burden over the state of Alabama. And, because of contracts or because, quite honestly, some people are, so successful they can't take the pay cut. A lot of people were like, Dawson, this is a time for you. And I got in late December, I got why don't you just pray about it, which is pastoral terms for you're going to do it. You just don't know it yet.
Right,
so
right.
I've learned that. And so I went through 21 days of prayer and fasting. I mean, it is what it is. And on the 20th day, I just kind of felt the Lord saying, I've been preparing you for this for 2 years. So I went home and talked to my wife, and she was like, in fact, when I walked in, she looked at me and said, what's wrong? And I told her, and she was like, well, let's prepare. And since that time, I've just been preparing through asking people to pray with us, talk with us about it, walk with us in this journey, and every single turn, I promise you, I've lived with open palms of God. If you don't want this, feel free to take it away. But if we can impact people, I mean, last year, 100,000 people I had the chance to speak in front of face to face, and I take that responsibility very serious. But if we can impact 5 million people in Alabama and beyond, that it could go national, that we could have, common sense government and a leader that looks through issues with a biblical worldview, then let's go for it. And that's where I am.
Well, Scott, this started with a phone call from you to me, for far as my part of the story.
Right.
And you told me you wanted to eat lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, Scott wouldn't tell me what it was. So I thought, what is Scott? What are we, what is going on? So we go to lunch, and Scott says, Bubba, I want you to run for governor. And I was floored. I was really floored. I was honored. But I thought, Scott, I don't know that that's my calling. We had a very lively discussion about it. And I think I even told you, Scott, if you're that passionate about it, maybe you need to do it.
Yeah. That conviction. Anyone who goes through conviction, after you get through it, it's joyful, but going through it is tough. And I was just trying to find somebody like, okay, God, maybe we can get, maybe we can talk Bubba into running. Bubba for governor sounds really good for the state of Alabama.
Boy, it's got a ring to it.
It would have won going away.
I'm telling you.
Imagine the bumper stickers.
Yeah, and I want to be clear because Bubba said it to you. When I said to you, well, if you're so big about it, why don't you run? I was just kidding. I didn't know you'd actually do it. But I want you to know I'm here to help you. But we had the joking part. You remember the first time you and I talked about it, I said, now you want to hear from just practical Rick, or do you want to hear from let's get on our faces and pray Rick? Which one do you want? Because practical Rick says, have you lost your mind?
Yes. And practical Scott was like, you're exactly right. Yeah. My daughter, we were at dinner, and she looks at me. My daughter says, Dad, you're turning 50. SDA, the ministry I lead, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. They're turning 30. You and Mom's been married 25 years. She said, "Is this a midlife crisis you're walking?"
Yeah, most people buy a motorcycle.
I was about to say, this is the ultimate sports car. You're supposed to make your life better, not worse.
I'm telling you. But here's the deal. Why am I running? Because there's a lot of good people who just decide not to get involved with it. And to be honest, the easiest thing for me would be just to walk away and continue to do my life like I got it. But the whole time, the book of Nehemiah has just been resonating in my mind, because Nehemiah wasn't a construction worker. He was a cupbearer to the king. But when God gave him a burden and God gave him a vision, all of a sudden the wall was built in 52 days. So people say, well, you're not a politician. To me, my reply is, thank God. But if I can serve, if I can be a part of something, and it's not any, everyone wants to condemn the people in politics. I'm not running against any other person. I really want to stand against the corruption in the political process and the system that's been built. That's what's got to be changed. And when that can happen, it's like an evangelist. What do I preach? I preach about life change. When someone's going this way and they want their life to be changed, what has to happen? There has to be a turning point. And what I've just been praying through, and the Lord's just been speaking to me, Alabama's at a turning point. We can't keep doing what we've always done and expect different results. That's insanity.
Well, somebody asked me, because everybody was wanting to try to figure out, when people were talking with behind the scenes, and they said, well, what does he have in the resume? I said, well, I got one for you. And I told Bubba this. I said, if you want to talk about somebody, don't act like he didn't have any expertise in what's going on. I'm glad he's not a politician, but I watched him do 2 evangelical events where we had to raise money for it, and we had to get over 100-something churches of all the denominations to help us. And he did that and convinced every single church nobody was going to get credit for it, and we still did. and how about this? If you can get over 100 different churches and different denominations to all work together and nobody get credit for it, by golly, that's a communicator right there.
That's it. That's a consensus builder.
That makes Montgomery like a piece of cake.
The only thing harder getting Republicans and Democrats work together, it's getting Baptists and Methodists working together. So we got it.
And we did it.
The Lord did it.
If
it's going to happen, it's going to be through him.
Well, and I do think this, and Bubba said that going to the break, I do think one of the things with the people right now, this thing of, well, he's never been involved in politics, and you know what we say? Amen.
Great.
Good.
That excites me.
Adrian Rogers, he's the one who said the term politics comes from 2 words, poly, which means many, and ticks, which blood-sucking insects. So,
but the country right now, at the state and federal level, they're ready for something new, and we need to start just getting people to do what the founders intended. Where does God have you? Now leave that, go serve your community, serve your state, serve your country. Do what the people need you to do, and then go back to what you were doing. It's not supposed to be a career.
We're excited, Scott.
I'm not looking for a career change. I'm looking to serve for the people of Alabama.
I hear you.
It's bottom of the hour. We'll be right back. Scott Dawson running for governor.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
A lot of folks calling in, Scott. Andy Andrews is standing by. Andy, of course, was on the show not long ago. Andy is a proud Alabamian as well. Andy, Scott Dawson's running for governor.
I heard that. I heard that, and I am very excited. I'm very excited about this, and I don't get excited about politics.
Yeah, well, you have had a lot to say about how important it is, though, when you go back to some of the books that you've written. I know a lot of times we get to the point where we think, politics and government. But if you don't keep a hand check on government can turn into a very evil force, even with the setup we have. And as Scott has said, this is times like these, people are going to have to start running that normally wouldn't.
Well, I'm like everybody else in the state. I think I heard, that you guys are going to make an announcement this morning, and I was like, oh man, please just don't tell me I have to put a Bubba bumper sticker on my car. And so I would have,
Sure.
because I know Bubba, but But when you guys announced Scott, or when Scott announced, I've been listening carefully, I've been thinking about this, and so far, obviously, Scott, you're listening to this. Obviously, there are going to be times coming up that people are going to disagree with everything you say. But I just want you to know that you've only been on the air for about 15 minutes, and you've already said something I disagree with. Because Scott said, now I want to tell you this, Scott said, the Lord's been preparing me for this for 2 years. I disagree with that. I think the Lord's been preparing Scott for this for his entire life. I really believe that the experiences Scott has had, and and I hate to bring up something that somebody might I don't know. I don't want to bring anybody down or anything, but Rick, when Bronner died, Scott was standing next to you when you heard the news.
Yeah.
And in an odd way, this is preparation for what somebody does to kind of become the daddy of a state, to become a father, to become a comforter, to become a leader. It's an odd moment that not many people have the experience, and there's a ton of people could have been standing next to you at that moment, but Scott was, and I look at all the things he has been through, and you can take the measure of a person just by we will know them by their fruits. I really, now I have only been around Scott probably less than 10 times. And somebody might say, well, that's not enough time to know anybody. Let me tell you something. You can walk through a forest, and you can pick up a leaf from the ground, and you don't even have to look up. And not only do you know what kind of tree you're under, you know if it's a young one or an old one, or if it's sick or if it's very healthy, if it's summer or if it's winter or if it's fall. Tons just by one leaf. Well, people drop leaves too. And if you pay attention, you can know a ton about a person just from a moment around them. And this is one thing, and I'll get off the phone. I don't want to take up your time, but I do want to say this. I promise you, I could have not met Scott Dawson and know that he would be who I was for governor of the state of Alabama. And you know why? Because if you meet his children, Hunter and Hope, you know all you need to know about this man. You know what kind of leadership he is about. You know what kind of respect he teaches. You know so much. I was talking to Dave Ramsey one day, and Dave told me, he said, one of the things that I do when I hire people is I always make sure that Sharon and I take them out to dinner with their spouse, because I get a really good view of them when they're with their spouse. And I told him, I said, Dave, you want to never miss, not only take them out with their spouse, make sure their kids are there. I said, because adults, we can fake anything. You can't fake the kids.
No, it's true.
That's good.
Well, Andy, we're glad to have you on board, and I know we'll be doing a lot because it'll take a lot of work to get this done, but I agree with everything you said, and I think that's the thing. It just feels comfortable when you get to breathe a sigh of relief and go, look, I don't know where we're going, but I know this man well enough to know that nothing's going to happen that would be embarrassing to us from his integrity and the way he's going to live his life out. So I look forward to the journey, and I'm glad you're part of the team.
Buddy, I am honored to be a part of this team. If anybody considers me a part of the team, then they can. But there's going to be a lot of things that people say, well, is he qualified for this? Is he qualified for this? Our founders intended that normal people do this kind of thing. Our founders intended that it not be politicians. And so how do you find the best kind of everyday people, for lack of a better word. And what you do is you look at the experience they have had, and do they have the experience of commitment? Do they have the experience of building? Do they have the experience of financial increase? Do they have the experience of staying away from debt? Do they have the experience of helping other people achieve things? Do they have the experience of giving of their own money and giving of their own time? Do they have that experience of compassion? Do they have an experience of reason? And so when I look at Scott, he is the kind of person that our founders intended we put in these positions.
Yeah, I agree completely. Andy, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you calling.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for that.
Thanks, Andy.
Congratulations, and go Scott.
There he goes, Andy Andrews.
Wow.
You know, and that's somebody that lives at the beach. To get them to call in on the day they're off.
In this weather.
And semi on time.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back.
That was on time for Andy.
We have more with Scott Dawson, who announced today on the show he is running for governor. We, of course, will be supporting him in that and working to try to get him elected. He loves our home state, and that's very obvious. We'll be right back. More Rick and Bubba next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
We're the Rick and Bubba Show. We're back. Scott Dawson, who's been on the show many times, has made many best of CDs. I was trying to figure out how long we've known you. It's right at 20 years. I was thinking maybe 18 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah. First Safe at Home.
Yeah, because Big Love is 18, and we've been on in Birmingham 18 years. Right around that time. So I think, as far as us being here, living here, we met you right after we moved here. So
What year was it that little airplane kept buzzing you?
Yeah.
When was that?
Kevin Derryberry introduced us, got you guys to come, and y'all were standing at home plate.
Yes.
And that's the infamous red plane that circled. And,
Oh, that was great.
We thought Devil was driving the plane himself.
Big Red was driving.
Gosh.
a lot of people, by the way, all the information about Scott's gubernatorial campaign is at show notes at rickandbubba.com. You can go to his website, you can go to his Facebook, you can go to Twitter. We put it right there in show notes. Just go there and click from there, and you get what you need to know as we kick off his race for governor here today on the program, as he officially announces to everyone that he is running for governor, and we'll be supporting that. Many emails want to know about Gary the Bulldozer Man, and I have a story involving Gary and myself I'll talk about later in the program. Gary is calling. Gary, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm fine. How you?
We're doing good. Hey, Scott's going to run for governor.
Well, you told me last week that he was thinking about it. But, me and Scott started off doing the same thing this morning.
What's that?
Trying to find a lid to fit a septic tank.
You're going to take a big one.
Yeah, we heard you had a little trouble
So
with that.
you and Scott all have the same job. That's funny.
That's good.
Scott still mad with me?
What's that?
Still mad with him.
Scott still mad with me?
You still mad, Scott?
My first executive order is an APB for your apprehension, but that's another story at another time.
I wanted to put my application in for head of security.
There you go.
There it is.
The assassination was an inside job, if I've ever heard of one.
Look, see, you had him scaring you. Now put him for you.
Oh, my gosh.
About it, he, if he gets governor, which I hope he does, I'll probably vote for you.
Probably.
Thanks. Thank you.
You'll be the only governor that I've ever shot at.
Well, that's a great point, Gary.
Boy, wouldn't that be great to be able to say that?
But yeah, that's
I'm probably one in Alabama that shot at the governor.
yeah. You know what? Let's hope you are. Let's hope that stays. Well,
Gary,
Gary,
you're going to have to get on the hill over there to Al's. Your phone's cutting out a little bit.
Gary, I know you got to get over and get that septic tank fixed, and I'm going to tell our adventure a little bit later in the program from this past weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a deal.
It was. You can't.
All right.
All
Nah,
right.
you can't come then.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Choppy.
See you, Gary.
There he goes. Choppy.
Still talking. I love what he said. Scott and I got the same job today. Get it back on the septic. That's funny. It'd be the only guy that's ever shot at the governor. Well, now there's been a lot of let's deal with it though. There's been a lot of rumors out there, and I know you want to deal with the top 10. Is this the top 10 attacks on you already?
Oh yeah, because as of last night, I made an issue statement to my family and my friends: do not read any more social comments because those commentators, wow, they're special. But anyway, there are going to be attacks coming to us, and so I've had some friends. Mark Garnett has put his input. My daughter, Hope, Hunter, myself. And they've come up with the top 10 outlandish claims.
All right, these are the top 10. Now, what we do.
Outlandish claims about Scott Dawson.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Now, look, what I do is when I say number 10, and then you say it, then I'll do this. All right, now, then we stop.
Then we'll give you another number.
And then we'll give you another number.
All right, I am an amateur at top 10.
So this is the top 10 what? Top 10 what?
Top 10 most outlandish claims that are going to come against me running for governor.
All right, number 10.
Number 10, Scott and Speedy share smoke breaks.
That's true.
Everybody knows Speedy
the
don't
top
smoke.
10 attacks against Scott running for governor. Number 9.
Greg Burgess will be my communications director.
I'm in to get with you about that.
All right, number 8.
I'm going to replace the dome of the Capitol with a replica of Touchdown Jesus, Alabama.
Road Tide.
Top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson running for governor. Number 7.
All my Disney vacations were actually budget line items at SDA under the name Mission Trip or Mickey Needs Jesus 2.
Yeah, and I witnessed one of those.
That was one of our markers for how long we've known him. I knew how young the kids were then. All right, the top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson. Number 6.
There will be a 10% tax increase, otherwise known as my tithe to Joel Osteen.
What are you doing?
Thank you, Hope Dawson. That was Hope's.
He's already out there.
Here we go. The top 10 attacks against Scott running for governor. Number 5.
I will suspend all laws but the 10 Commandments and issue an executive order that says, entitled the, missed it!
Come on! It's too long.
You can't have nothing.
All right, number 5.
Nothing.
Come on, go.
I will suspend all laws but the 10 Commandments and issue an executive order entitled the Levitical Law for You Today.
Okay. The law.
Rushed it.
Top 10 attacks. Just say your
Timing's everything.
You got
Timing
it.
is everything.
Remember our arrangement.
We
Top 10 attacks. You have to tell them about it. Scott and I, early on in our friendship, he said, okay, teach me how to deliver comedic lines, and I'll teach you how to do a better altar call. All right,
and I am a much better teacher.
All right, here we go. The top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson. Number 4.
Yep. All right. I will only serve water at every state function with the motto, if Jesus wants you to drink wine, let him do it.
That's a good one. Top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson. Number 3.
All right. The state of the state of dress will be no longer than 3 minutes. That includes a 15-minute invitation.
Top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson running. Number 2.
Oh, in the past, during invitations, he solemnly bows his head only to check the Sports Center updates.
Oh, God.
They're going to come. It's going to be nasty.
That's a nasty attack.
It's gonna be
That is a nasty
That
attack.
would be nasty.
All right, the top 10 attacks that have already come against Scott Dawson running for governor. Are we ready? Here's number 1.
He steals all of his sermon points from old Disney movies.
You do love Disney.
I got you. The top 10 attacks against Scott Dawson. Everybody come on together. Scott Dawson running for governor, official today. That's the way. I like it. That's the way. I like it. So there it is. But,
Quite an announcement here.
But you said the thing that you do really want to make clear, though.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some legitimate concern about attacks coming at me. And here's the get to know me. Not the perception and the misconception that I'm out here trying to build a theocracy or something like that. I just have a biblical worldview. And I think, first of all, when they say there's no experience, he has no political experience. And I'm reminded that the Ark was built by amateurs and the Titanic was built by professionals.
Oh.
So we better get a perspective of that.
How about that word?
I like that.
And the second thing
There's
is,
your word.
can he make the hard decisions? And because being in ministry, some people will go, well, gosh, you're a great minister, but really, do you know how life is? What other occupation besides a minister are you there from the womb to the tomb? You're there when people are celebrating. You're there when their lives have been destroyed. So you get to see every aspect. And isn't our government supposed to be about the people? Not about the bottom lines. You got to know all that, and that's the reason we have an incredible board at SDA. We have a great team, and I think the third thing is people will go, "Hey, I like Scott, but can we trust him?" And to me, I go, "Look at my life. Just look at it." And here's the deal: there's going to be some rumors out there that I'm going to ask the people who know us to quell. Proverbs 17:2 says, "Let another man's lips speak well of you." There's going to be some things. Vote for me or not. But understand that I am a man that loves Jesus with all my heart. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and I try to be a good friend to everyone.
There it is, Scott Dawson running for governor, the official announcement today. We got a long road ahead of us, but it starts today. And if you want to see everything about his run for governor, go to show notes at rickandbubba.com. We have his website there. We have the Facebook page. We have the Twitter. And you can continue to follow along, and there'll be more updates as we go through the process. James Spann, how are you today?
Hello, gentlemen. What's happening?
Well, other than kicking off a gubernatorial candidate today on the program, everything else has been kind of slow.
Yeah, I heard you guys been doing some politics here. Wow.
Yeah. Scott Dawson.
Stuff.
Scott Dawson,
yeah.
You've done some work with him too, and now he is officially running for governor.
There you go. So everybody thought it was going to be you or Bubba.
Well, there has to be a sigh of relief today. Yeah.
I'd love to see James Carr with a big old bumper sticker that says Bubba on there.
Well, I'm telling you, when you the thing I've noticed with the times we're living in, if you just put something out on Twitter, hey, we're going to clear that up Monday, and that turns into that one of us or I am running for governor, that just tells you today. These click-throughs and everybody starts, making stories without any facts or any investigation of it and all that. I was like, no, the story is that Rick and Bubba are going to make an announcement on Monday about the gubernatorial race. Nothing in the Twitter said that I was running or Bubba was running, and then it turned into that. And then once one person did it, then everybody copied it, and I'm starting getting texts from everywhere. And I'm like, well, this is exactly what we've been talking about.
I wanted to start a rumor James was running.
Yeah, I did. Well, I am doing that today. But anyway, I know there's been Scott went out there and talking to a lot of us, and finally we kept saying to him, look, if this is something that's on your heart to this level, maybe you should run. And finally he came to the conclusion that was the way to go.
That's one of the few times somebody took my advice on something.
Right.
And, there you go. So.
Well, you heard me clarify. Heck, I was just joking. But anyway.